The propaganda is so bad that even after I started to have health problems, and a lot of vegans go through this as well, we honestly believe that we're just doing the diet wrong. Hello, ex-vegans, meat bots, and agriculture enthusiasts. Welcome to my channel where we're learning about agriculture and diet propaganda together. So this is going to be a diet propaganda episode because I think it is so important to talk about why everybody thinks veganism is so healthy when 85% of vegans go back to eating meat. Can you believe that? And yet the propaganda, like everything out there that you read, it's like, vegans are healthy, vegans are healthy, vegans are healthy. Okay. The propaganda is so bad that even after I started to have health problems, and a lot of vegans go through this as well, we honestly believe that we're just doing the diet wrong because it can't possibly be vegan, like the vegan diet causing our issues, right? Like y'all have seen my thyroid. It fluctuates now, actually. Now that I started eating meat, there's some days when it's smaller, which is like amazing. I don't know how that happens, but it's so cool. But anyways, y'all have seen my thyroid, and like when I even looked that up, like can veganism cause thyroid issues? Everything was like, vegans are 50% less likely to have thyroid issues. And I was like, oh my God, okay, well then I guess it's not the veganism. I would even find NIH articles about this, you guys. When my mom would turn on the TV, she would see things like vegans are so healthy, and all the food that they would make on the health channels were like plant-based, or at least mostly plants. And so she's over there thinking, oh my goodness, my daughter's so healthy. I'm so proud of her. I want to be more vegan myself. You know, that's my mom saying that. And I'm like, yeah, great. Everything's great, I guess. And to be honest, it never really felt right with me. Something always felt a little bit off. I knew something was happening to me. I knew it seemed to correlate with veganism, but it could have correlated with a couple other things. So I kind of tried to keep an open mind, and I kept trying and trying and trying, and it just wasn't working. And the doctors wouldn't listen to me that anything was wrong, because every time they ran blood tests they looked normal, because they were in normal ranges, but they weren't in like my normal range. Like I could tell something was off because I've looked at my blood tests in the past and it just didn't look right to me, but it was normal. So you're fine, go home and, you know, just waste half the week sleeping because you're miserable. That was like my life for a few months there. I started running tests on myself through Let's Get Checked. And eventually I had a test come back that said a certain thing was high. And I'm not going to tell you what, because I don't want to mislead anybody else who's going through their own stuff. But long story short, I ended up researching malnutrition in your kidneys. And I started learning about how some people need more protein than others, and that it's totally relative, and protein deficiency can be totally relative, and that can affect kidney function. But also, and this was more eye-opening to me, I have finally stumbled across this whole thing. I don't know how it took me there, but somehow learning about my kidneys and the way they were processing things for me led me to study about how only 50% of people can convert retinoids, things like beta carotene and all that stuff that people tell you to eat when they say eat the rainbow, and oh, just eat tons of carrots and peppers and things and you'll have plenty of vitamin A. All that stuff doesn't necessarily convert to vitamin A in your body. So I went, huh. So then I started looking up signs of vitamin A deficiency, and I was like, bingo. So, I mean, I was noticing something and I wasn't losing my mind. Some people just can't convert vitamin A, period. They just can't. They just cannot take retinoids and convert them into vitamin A. Or there's also another percentage of people who they convert vitamin A at such a slow, inefficient rate that they would just never get enough vitamin A out of their diet, no matter how hard they tried to get it without animal products. So I shared this with other people, and I had all these vegans come out of the woodwork and say to me, there's provitamin A in vegan food. And I was like, what? Provitamin? That sounds a lot like the word probiotic. Is that what I think it is? So I looked it up, and sure enough, it's exactly what I thought it was. And it's basically a fancy way of... I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh, but it's silly. Basically, it's a really misleading way of referring to beta carotene as something that turns into a vitamin A. So in other words, there's no such thing as like provitamin A. Like there is, but like I don't really ever hear dietitians or nutritionists use it. Like very often, a lot of the time we just call it beta carotene. That's usually what it is. So it was really weird for me to come across that word and really learn how misleading all of this is. But these are how people come to believe that veganism is so healthy. There's also vegan bodybuilders, and people are like, well, how come they aren't protein deficient? Again, there is a percentage of the population that doesn't need as much protein as other people. It's completely relative. But there is a percentage of vegans, and the jury's out on this because there haven't been very many studies done about this, but anecdotally, there have been a lot of people who have lost a lot of muscle mass on a vegan diet and had a lot of issues. I've also heard of teenagers being diagnosed with kwashiorkor. It's a protein deficiency that starts to basically freak your kidneys out. That's a whole nother wild form of malnutrition that can come out of veganism, especially in adolescents and teenagers who are still developing and their protein needs might fluctuate. Maybe their parents don't necessarily understand the needs of a growing person who's going through puberty. All these things can add to lots of issues. That's where it comes full circle, right? Because you'll hear vegans constantly making fun of other people who say, where do you get your protein? I know. I know. Like, that's all I can say. Like, because I keep having that mocking, well, where do you get your protein? Rolling around in my head, like them mocking bro dudes for saying stuff like that. And I just hear that rolling around in my head all the time. And I have a tank top still from when I was vegan that says, keep calm, plants have protein. And they do, but they're just not as bioavailable proteins to everyone. Some people can get all the protein they need out of plants, again, but not everyone can. And that's where it becomes confusing. And of course, people who ask questions like that of vegans who are doing a good job and who aren't having any issues on the diet do cause a kind of situation where those vegans feel the need to push back. If you like content like this where we talk about propaganda and agricultural stuff, join us over here on my channel. And until the next video drops, everybody eat healthy.